Hi, and welcome back to your IBS Answer Portal. Today's video is A105. I call this video's title, A Race Against Time. This is going to clearly explain to you how you developed IBS and what is IBS. It seems very complex, convoluted, and complicated. I'm making so many videos, you're saying to yourself, why is it long and dragged out? Think for a moment how long you've had IBS and how many medical practitioners have actually given you answers as to what is the reason you developed IBS. Maybe that'll help you understand. If I throw a lot of medical information at you, you're not going to retain it and you're not going to understand. So today's video is literally talking about a contest, a race against time. And if you looked at the thumbnail, you happen to see clocks and stopwatches. What is the race? It is actually a race of time between your brush border and its ability to rebuild, reconstruct, and repair that lining of your small intestine against the bacteria and the virulent or aggressive bacteria and viruses' ability to destroy those cells. So it's a contest. Every 2 to 5 days you shed those cells. Can your body keep up and advance past the destruction by the bacteria and the viruses that are causing the destruction of your brush border? And your body has to do that to beat out the time it takes for your immune system to destroy those cells. We talked about autoimmunity. It's more like your individual immune system. We're not all created equal. Not everybody has the same degree of power in their immune system. That is why some people recover quickly from a cold or virus, why some people develop other medical conditions where they take longer to heal. So I'm not going to get into immunology because it's way too complex and complicated, but it has to do with your own immune system. Your ability to destroy those bacteria or viruses. And that is how you develop irritable bowel syndrome. In your case, if you have irritable bowel syndrome, inflammatory bowel disease, or ulcerative colitis, even Crohn's disease, it all is occurring in your small intestines. As it gets more advanced, it can then involve your colon or large intestine. My main concern here today is your small intestine, because that is where all your food, metabolism, and absorption occurs. If those bacteria or viruses cause an effacement or a destruction of your brush border, what happens? You destroy those cells that produce the intestinal enzymes. Without those intestinal enzymes, you build up a large amount of sugar that your bacteria love, and that is like candy to them. So normally, when your food leaves your stomach, enters your small intestine, those enzymes get dumped right into the mix. And the complex sugars, which I call alternative sugars, not your regular table sugar, but there are many other kinds of sugars. You just read the labels on your packages of food. There's fructose, there is sorbitol, mannitol, maltitol. I could go on and on, xylitol. If you ever eat candy that has artificial flavors in it, you know what that does to you. Produces a lot of gas. Mannitol, sorbitol, those are complex large sugar molecules. Bacteria love to feed on that. They ferment it. That produces the gas, which gives you the symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome. Under normal conditions, you right away break down those sugars into simple sugars that your body can handle and the bacteria are not going to grow wild on. So now you know what actually causes your irritable bowel syndrome. So if you're in a situation where you got sick, meaning you got a gastrointestinal infection, and it was a pretty virulent or aggressive infection, and it caused defacement to your brush border, and your brush border could not make the enzymes, your bacteria kept growing, and you kept getting reinfected. There is a condition called SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Many of you have been treated for that with an antibiotic called Xifaxan. The physician's purpose was to control the bacteria and kill it. And that particular antibiotic works not systemically, but only in your small intestine. But that is treating the symptoms and not the cause. Once you reduce the population, you're going to end up being on that antibiotic 3-4 times a year, because then you're still deficient in the enzymes. As you eat those foods again, you're going to start all over again. You're asking, what are those foods? Hate to tell you this, but it's onions, garlic, cherries, peaches, avocados, apples, apricots, pears. You getting the idea? A lot of nuts also cause the problems. These particular foods have high amounts of complex sugars. You'll hear all the time, those foods are healthy and great for you. Yes, they are. And they're good foods, provided you have the enzymes to break down those foods. Our program, in terms of treatment, involves enzyme replacement therapy, and it involves a diet that will starve those bacteria until your brush border starts healing. I learned all this basically from studying celiac disease. If you know anything about celiac disease, people who are celiac patients are highly allergic to gluten. They cannot even eat a speck of gluten. It'll destroy the lining of their small intestine, their brush border. For it to repair, it can take anywhere from 2 years to 5 years for their body to rebuild the brush border. That is after that damage was done. You got to understand, it's not like taking an antibiotic and you're going to get better in 7 days or 14 days. It has to do with your body's ability to repair itself. This is what I want to teach you. Get it out of your head. There's a little magic pill that will make your body right away rebuild the brush border. It isn't going to happen. That's why I want you to think of fractures, how long they take to heal, or pick any other problem that you develop medically with your body. Sometimes the repair process takes a long time. Imagine someone in a car accident. How long does it take them to heal after multiple injuries in a car accident? You understand it. They go through physical therapy and they eventually recover. I'm telling you, I'm living proof. 8.5 months, I have no more symptoms. You can accomplish the same thing, and I'm going to teach you how to do it. And one last thing I want to talk about is your irritable bowel syndrome can be corrected, but you've got to have the patience and the understanding. And I normally talk about questions that people pose in the beginning of a video, so I tricked you, and I'm doing it at the end. But I get repeated, constant postings as to, well, if I have IBS and I don't have the answers, why does a physician keep doing a colonoscopy? And what was that gastroenterologist looking for? I'll give you a real good example. Imagine yourself flying in a private aircraft, looking out the window at 500 or 1,000 feet. What are you going to see? On the topography of the ground, the overview, you're not going to see people walking around in the street. You might see the roofs of buildings. Vaguely, you'll see buildings. But you see on a macro level, not on a micro level. When a doctor does a colonoscopy, it is an examination of your colon, your large intestine. The doctor uses a colonoscope, which is a flexible scope, a tube that goes through your anus and looks around the walls of your large intestine. What is your physician looking for in that large intestinal wall? They are looking for bleeding, inflammation, polyps, other unusual growths, or worst case scenario, cancer. And the main purpose of a colonoscopy is if they find polyps, they would like to remove them and they want to remove them. Usually polyps can be precancerous growths or they can develop into cancer. So it is a great preventative procedure for the prevention of colon cancer. Now, where does it come to IBS? Almost not at all. This is the problem with IBS. Your condition occurs on a cellular level, a microscopic level. We're going to get into it a little further without trying to get too complex. But remember, they are individual microscopic cells that produce the enzymes that break down the sugars we talked about. That occurs in your small intestine. Even if your physician could look in your small intestine, which they normally don't, it's almost very difficult, they could not look on a cellular level and look at an individual enterocyte and see if that cell is functioning. That's your issue. Our process of treatment and cure is through deductive reasoning. And I once talked about it, ABA, Applied Behavioral Analysis. You're observing what is going on with your body, and we are going to fix the causes and not the symptoms. Because when you fix the cause, you alleviate the symptoms. So I want you to check back for A106. We are going to start leading into how your treatment protocol is going to work. But I am telling you, I know too many people already who I have saved from bowel resections where they have had ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. This works. It's based on scientific fact. And again, if you have any questions about the medicine or the scientific efficacy of it, read that book. At least go in the back of the book and look at the references of all the great researchers that worked on these projects. It is understanding logic, scientific sense, and common sense. So please check back for A106 and we will continue. Be patient, review the videos, check them out, check out the book if you want further detail, and you can't wait to find out how the treatment protocol works. I guarantee you, you're going to be cured. So check back for A106. Thanks for visiting your IBS Answer Portal. Have a wonderful day.